a construction grade engine installed in a bike with the gearing not meant for this engine. Now all of this mix is there. This is the bike in front of you. Guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be talking to you the absolute reality about owning, about this engine actually. Not about owning the bike, but specifically about this particular engine. Now you see the Greaves engine that is installed in the bike, and the other engines that Enfield had installed in the bike, the diesel engines, they were not meant for the bike. This engine, this particular engine, you can see, say, in water pumps, you can see in construction sites, the small concrete mixers, they use the same engine. So this engine is not specifically meant for the bike. You got to consider that, number one. Number two, this engine is extremely slow revving. The highest RPM as per the manual is 3600. That's the red line. You don't want to go to that RPM. It will just vibrate like crazy. The ideal RPM I would suggest is 1500, 2000 at best. Now you got to understand this gearbox over here was not built to take such low RPM engines. So the thing is, this thing kind of redlines and reaches its engine capacity fairly early with the gearing that the Royal Enfield 4-speed gearbox provides, which was designed for the petrol engines, which is far more revving than this particular diesel engine. Okay, so now you've got this into consideration. Not a construction grade engine installed in a bike with the gearing not meant for this engine. Now all of this mix is there. This is the bike in front of you. Now how does she perform? I've gone for a short spin in the morning. This is the figure. This is the GPS figure, so there's no doubt about this. My speedo, as you see, at ideal is at 20, so it's not accurate right now. 71.78, that's the top speed. Okay, and that is after tuning twice. 71.78, you cannot go faster than that. I've covered a distance of 22 kilometers and I've got an average of 39.6. I'll give you another harsh reality about this bike. If you are young blooded, if you want to just go for top speed runs, don't even consider this bike. Not even closely consider this bike. I mean, just run away from the bike. Don't even look at it. If you're someone who is in their 20s and who just wants to go as fast as possible on the highway, not even as fast. I mean, I think 120, 130 highway speed is reasonable in today's day and age. Don't even consider this bike. I'll tell you what is the ideal speed. And I know this sounds pathetic. This sounds unrealistic. This sounds too boring. But the ideal speed for this bike is between 38 to 48 kilometers. Another issue, diesel leaking over here. But I got to change this pipe. Then I got to put something like this over here so that the diesel doesn't leak. Yes, so coming back to this amazing engine, that's the ideal speed, 38 to 48 kilometers. I, at best, for 50, 52 is what I ride. I don't exceed that. Again, I got to emphasize, not because this engine cannot take the speed. I'm not riding that because the gearing is that short. Now let me tell you the plus points about this engine. Number one, everyone knows it is extremely fuel efficient. I haven't tested the fuel efficiency, but I fill this tank once in 3 weeks as opposed to filling my tank once a week in the Impulse. So I'm assuming ideally my bike would be giving, I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's giving close to the triple digit numbers. On the safer side, 85 I think it easily gives, because my Impulse gives around 40 and I have to fill it once a week. So So theoretically 120 kilometers per liter, but I think we can put it at 80 kilometers per liter over here. That is one. Number two, this engine has tons and tons and tons of torque. I mean, a lot of torque. So let me give you an example. This gearing on the fourth gear, I can pull from standstill without any problem. Third gear on this bike from standstill feels like the first gear of quite a few bikes. The first gear of this bike is just too what you call low, but ठीक this is how the gearing is. This bike, ideally, I would suggest is for a single person. Yeah, you can take your girlfriend, your wife on it, but ideally, considering the engine, I would suggest, ideally, if you are a solo rider, you would enjoy the bike much more than what you would with a person sitting behind you. And we have a cat, inquisitive cat. Okay, so yeah, so it's got tons and tons of torque. But the thing is, you tell, the torque kind of deadlines at 1500, 2000 rpm. So moment you are in the first gear, every 5 kilometers you'll have to upshift, 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 and the fourth gear from 20 25, you comfortably chugging along, and chug along till around 50 kilometers, and then you are sorted, you are in the sweet spot. So yes, now what I do is I usually use this bike from in city use. So considering how slow the city traffic is, that ideally doesn't make me feel that slow. But on the highway, when the you will be overtaken by rickshaws, you will be overtaken by tempo riders, you will be overtaken by the slow electric two wheelers as well. Hello, Kitty. Coming back. Yeah, you will be overtaken by quite a few, by absolutely anything on the road. So keep that in mind. Now there is an option. You can upgrade these engines. You get the more powerful engines in the market. What one of my mechanic mentioned is the engine that's used in the ape rickshaws, those a 600 cc, 500 cc engines that you can easily install over here. But again, I don't want to mess around with the character. I don't want to mess around with the overall, what do you call, the way this engine is balanced, the way it just feels like a bike. I don't want to feel like I've just forced a bigger engine and maybe the bike won't feel as agile as it is. I'm not saying this is an agile bike, not from any angle, but I feel the way this bike, the engine has been installed, because I got to emphasize, this is not a diesel bullet engine. This is a Greaves engine. So in the 90s, you could legally just convert your petrol into diesel. This is one of those engines. Um, One of my mechanic mentions it's a 500. One of them mentions a 323. If anyone knows what is the capacity of this engine, that would be amazing, because the cubic capacity is not mentioned over here. So yeah, this is the reality of owning this bike. Do I enjoy it? Absolutely. Do I use it every day? Absolutely. I'm in my 40s. I used to own a Pulsar 220, the world's fastest Indian. I remember not going below 125, 130 on highways on that particular bike. I've had my fair share of speed. The next bike that the next additional bike in my garage hopefully should be the KTM Enduro International, so that I can continue my off-roading expedition, and whenever I need the need of speed I can ride that. But this is a bike meant for the people who like to ride calmly. I'll give you one more advantage of this particular engine. You see this thing? It's actually a cooling fan, and it actually blows air inside this engine. Now, the best part of this engine is it doesn't heat up. It doesn't heat up at all. And when the engine is on and you actually put your hand here, you'll feel wind coming in. Like air is forcefully blown in this engine. So the advantage of this engine is, again, this was built to be in the construction or farm use, and it was meant to be in one location, right? It wasn't meant to be moving around. So the fan system and the cooling system is such that it cools the engine. So when the bike moves simultaneously, it's good for the engine because it never heats up. But you see this? This is normal. You see this over here? This is where it blows the excess oil or diesel out whenever there's too much pressure. This is something that you got to consider. Your hands will get dirty now and then on the diesel Enfield. It's not the most ideal engine, but if you know what you're getting yourself into, there is nothing better and nothing more crude and nothing more mechanical, nothing more personal than this bike. This bike has a soul, is what I can say. Yes, it does leak oil everywhere. Um, you get the normal Royal Enfield issues. It is, I do have to change the oil every 1,500,000 kilometers to keep the engine running smooth. Now, to give you an example, the Royal Enfield Himalayan, theoretically you got to change the oil of that engine once every 10,000 kilometers. This particular engine you got to change it every 1,000 kilometers. So whatever you're saving in fuel, you're basically going to spend it back in keeping this engine up and running. But again, it's not about the cost, at least for me. It's about keeping a part of history alive, keeping something unique alive. And I can guarantee you, park this bike in a biker meet, even besides CB 1000, besides Kawasaki Ninja 1000, people will come to you and ask you questions about this, because everyone has seen super bikes. Very, very, very few people have seen a running diesel Royal Enfield. And again, as of now, if you've seen my other videos, I've had a BSA type seat over here. I'm replacing the BSA seat with a Bajaj Chetak seat. You all got to be tuned to see how the bike looks. Even I'm excited how the bike is going to look. But yes, this is my in-depth video about how this engine is, what is the actual realistic expectation from this engine, and if you know what to expect and you're ready for that, you will not be disappointed. There's one more thing. People say cold starts is a bitch. It does not start. That's not true if your engine is tuned properly. It is pretty cold right now in December in Mumbai, but it started in the third kick. Obviously, it's not going to start in the first kick, it started in the third kick. So, yes, cold starts also will not be a problem with a well tuned engine. So, I hope this video and my journey with the diesel Enfield is interesting for you all. And yeah, I'll keep you all updated on the progress and living with this particular bike. So, uh, if you have seen the video till now, thank you, and I look forward for seeing you in my next one. Take care.